This is just like pushing your cart, except you don't push. Everything else stays exactly the same. I have one in the trunk of my car. I keep it there all the time. I pull out my cart, stick this on it, and off I go.
After you've used it and you don't have it for even a few holes, you realize,
I got spoiled right away with this, yeah.
Absolutely.
It's definitely the most pleasant method of the 3 methods of powering a cart that are out there now.
Hey, I'm Bob.
And I'm Bob.
And this is our CaddieWheel, the most compact, convenient, power-assisted pushcart solution.
Remember, when we were talking about it, my dad was the impetus to do something.
It was.
You were looking at it from an engineering perspective, and I was looking at it from a 89-year-old man's perspective, and thinking to myself, okay, it's got to be really small and light, something I can lift up, and it would be ideal if I could just put it on the push cart that I already own, so I don't have to go out and buy a new push cart, because my dad wasn't spending any money buying a new push cart. He was Scottish and he's 89. He ain't spending money he don't need to spend. And so the parameters were really as a result of trying to satisfy my dad. And in the end, I thought one wheel was the really only thing that made sense.
You came up with that
But whether
suggestion.
or not we could make one wheel work, that was a whole other silly discussion. So that's when I handed over the issue to you to deal with.
To start the CaddieWheel, all you gotta do is give a good push with your cart and your power's on. Same time, all you gotta do is press the power button, keep it pressed for about 3 seconds, it'll come on, and you're set to go. I was convinced that it was a viable alternative. I just had to come up with how to do it. And I asked you, what's out there? And what's the shortcomings of it? And the first thing you said is that they're big and heavy.
So I can lift this unit and stick it in the car, but it's going to take up a lot of space, and if it's dirty, I'm going to get my clothes dirty, which is kind of a problem. You know, most of the carts were all in one. They were all one big unit, and they folded up a little bit. They didn't fold up completely, and I went out and bought one of those units, and I used it, and it was great, except I didn't take it with me when I went to other golf courses. I only kept it at my course, because it was a big hassle. The thing weighed like 45 pounds or something. And then the other kind was the remote controlled. And the remote control ones, well, they tend to have wider wheels. They have to have wheels on the back so it can't fall backwards. And this weighs, maybe in the 20, 25 pound range.
And now this is a real heavy guy to push up. Oh my God.
Basically, you could get one cart and a bag in your trunk.
Right.
So if you were traveling with a friend, you know, it was difficult. You had to use the back seat, or you each took your own car. And this, of course, weighs 10 pounds, and that's it. That's the whole thing. And so this, like, you could put 2 of these in 2 of your carts, whether it's like a Click Gear or Bag Boy or a Sun Mountain or whatever, because they all fold up pretty small nowadays. So I'm walking along and I'm pointing at where I'm going, and then I just let go. I can speed it up a little bit so it gets further ahead, or I can slow it down a little bit, catch up to it and change the direction to over here if I want to do that. So generally this is how it works. You walk along and it's, now I'm coming to a spot where there's a gully and some mud, so I put my hand on it, make sure that I get through that, no issue.
And one of the other things I did ask you was, how easy was it to use the existing motorized carts at that time?
3 seems to be a speed that's easy to walk with, and then you press the button and you go. Now, if you wanted to speed up, you'd have to change the dial. If I try and slow down, the wheel just keeps turning. As you can see, it's still turning no matter what, and you can't change your gait because it won't speed up or slow down unless you dial in the change. My wife, she would press the button and it wouldn't stop, and it would go, it would start too fast, and it would yank her and pull her. Well, she would rather use this than her cart. This is really the control. You slide this forwards and backwards, and that controls speed and braking. You can control it like infinitely, exactly to the speed you're going at as you're walking along. If you're going down a steep hill, you can put the brake on and you can see the wheel acts like an ABS, and it prevents the cart from completely running away on its own. So I'm just pushing this back and forth and make it go. So I slow it down, speed it up, slow it down. If I let go, it just rolls to a stop by itself. And I steer it with my hand, like you do with a regular push cart.
You know, a lot of people looking at it tend to focus, oh, it doesn't turn.
You know, the ones that are all in one, they don't turn. You still have to turn them. And that's why you see way more of those being purchased than the remote control kind, because a lot of people get the remote control and they use it and they go, you know, this is like playing a video game while I'm trying to play golf. Everybody I know's had one, has dumped it in a pond, banged one of their players. For some reason, I knocked the same guy over 3 times. The other 2 guys I play with regularly, they knew to stay away from me. So the way that the remote works is when you press a button to do something, that's what it does until you press another button to get it to do something else. So if you want it to turn right, you press the right-hand button, but you only want it to go 3 feet, so then you immediately got to press straight or left-hand button.
Now it goes, and it's going on all the time. So if I drop this, we're in trouble. So I got to press the brake, and it'll stop. It works. Really. But there is no dead man switch like ours.
It automatically goes off when you get out of range, or if you put it in your pocket and you're more than 4 or 5 minutes putting, it'll turn off, which is good because then if you accidentally touch it in your pocket, which I had happen many times with remotes, is you accidentally touch it and your cart takes off and you turn around, you finish putting, and your clubs have disappeared with your, in my case, my wallet, my phone, my keys, and everything. You go on eBay and look at, you know, buying used carts, and 90% of them are remote control carts, and it's because of that people buy it and then find that it's more than what they really wanted to have.
One of the things that struck me the first time I used it was how pleasant it is to use.
After 3 or 4 holes, you don't even think about it anymore.
No, you don't.
It's doing what you've always done without the exertion.
Now it's going downhill a bit. I can put the brake on when I want, and there it is. That's it. It took me 3 months to come with a proof of concept.
Wood and tape and wires.
It would go maybe 2 feet before it fell apart.
Yeah.
But you were all excited. Oh.
I remember the very first prototype, the wheel just dug right in, like you couldn't stop it. And when I saw that, I said, Bob's gonna figure this out. A wheel attached to all the different kinds of push carts that are out on the market. Everything we've done in here, we've made it way more robust than it needs to be. I used it one day in the snow. Remember that? So I'm going up a hill here, and you can see I'm barely touching it. It goes up all by itself, but I keep one hand on it so it doesn't fall backwards or fall to the side. And even though it's a super steep hill, it just goes up effortlessly.
A lot of people, first time to try it out, they send this thing 50 yards ahead, 60 yards ahead, full speed, this and that. Okay, that's fun to do. But the real way to use it is walk behind it.
Just the way you would normally do if it wasn't power assisted.
Bob, you came to me, it's almost 5 years ago.
No.
Yes, it
It's
has.
not 5 years?
Yes, it has.
It's been 5 years?
Even slightly more, Bob.
No.
I have all the designs, all the drawings I did are all in file. I got dates on them.
I can tell you, so my dad passed away in 2021.
And he had one already.
And he had it for 2 years. So yeah, you're right, 2019. Yeah, he loved that thing. That was good. He used that right up until, until he passed away. Yeah, that was a good thing. We thought there would be a real sort of interest in something that was less complicated. And what's less complicated than one wheel that you add to the push cart you already own. And actually it's got more benefits than we thought. A lot of these benefits we're getting from people who have bought the unit and used it, and they call us up and they say, wow, this thing's really good. I can't play golf without it anymore. And it's not as big and heavy and bulky and less expensive, of course, as well. I think this is a really good, healthy option for a lot of golfers who want to walk, but just don't want to have to push the goddamn cart around all day.